This video is brought to you by Osmocote, the planter's plant food.
Hi, I'm Marianne Binetti, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to prune your clematis and feed your clematis so you can have blooms for 2 months out of the year, even longer than 8 weeks, if you know the secrets. Now, this is a lovely small flowering Giacometti type clematis. Grows great on a lattice. It's in full bloom. Here's what you do not want to do. Do not fertilize your clematis when it is in bud or in bloom. If you do that, oftentimes the buds will drop, or if it's in full bloom, it'll just push out the blooms very quickly, drop the petals, and you'll have a very short bloom season. Instead, here's what I want you to do. When your clematis is done blooming, this one's not quite done. Over here, I'll show you one that's finished blooming. Okay, here is an earlier blooming clematis. It's just finished blooming. And what I'm going to do now is lightly prune it to remove about 1/3 of the vines, and that is going to encourage more growth. Now, I can use regular hand pruners like this, but I prefer when doing very thin stems with clematis to using kitchen scissors. So what I'm going to do is simply look for the top where I see no new growth, shorten it all the way down to a joint where there's 2 leaves coming across a bud. That is a node. So right with that joint, right above that joint, that's where I will clip this off. Okay, that can go into the compost pile. Now where I see new growth, now here's one. You can tell this is new growth because the leaves are smaller. You can see there's even a little bit of more buds coming. I'm not going to cut that. That will become another wave of blooms on my clematis that usually just blooms once a year. But if I go ahead and get snippy with all this older growth here, shortening everything just by 1/3 or so, what I'm doing, I'm telling the plant, oh, you didn't really flower, flower again. And so that is how I will get a whole nother set of blooms and enjoy a lot more flowers on my clematis. You don't have to worry too much about being particular. Just don't take off more than 1/3 of the vines, and as soon as you're done pluming, go ahead and fertilize lightly using a slow release plant food like Osmocote or maybe some alfalfa pellets, and water it in well. You'll be blessed with another whole display of clematis blooms. This has been Marianne Binetti with easy answers for great gardens.